All right. Sorry about all that. You can tell my cold is still dragging on. I understand from some people around here that there's something going around here as well, even though I got mine on vacation. So, anyways, feeling much better, but like I said, there's still a chance that I may cough. Anyways, welcome to Bead Stash Challenge, week 22, our design reveals today. I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and I appreciate all of you joining me today. So today we're going to make a matched set. So any combination of jewelry works. I know I think I specifically said earrings, bracelets, and necklaces, but I think you could throw in an anklet, which, you know, it's just a bracelet for your ankle, right? So, and for that matter, if you want to make a ring, I'm fine with that too. So, you know, you can adjust the card requirements as you need to. So if you're not familiar with us, we are the home of the Bead Stash Challenge, which is a series of card decks that help us boost our creativity and make some really interesting and combinations of things that you would never really think about. My drawing today is that I drew on Sunday is pretty it's very workable, so it's fine, but sometimes I get things that are a little crazy. So just a reminder, we draw our cards on Sundays at noon Pacific time this time of year. I'm in Arizona, so it does change. And then on Thursdays we make our project live, so that's what we're here to do today. So I just wanted to go over that. If you're interested in anything, we have our website. I think right now I am going to run a quick summer sale. So I need to post that up. I will, but I'm probably looking at 20% off of all our products, cards, kits, and bead mixes. So if you are needing anything, now would be a great time to get it. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Janelda, thanks for joining me. We are making our match set today. And I will say, normally, you know, I probably make earrings and something else because, you know, I love to make earrings, but I'm actually not in the mood for earrings today, so we're not making earrings as part of our match set. I'm actually going to make a match set of a bracelet and an anklet, I think. So that's what we're going to work on today. We have to use brown in our design, so I have a couple things here. I have some fossil coral nuggets that have some brown in them. I'm also going to use some flower amazonite, so some of it's got some brown tones in there. And just remember, when it says brown, you can use pretty much any, you can do tan, you can do dark browns, you can do whatever works for you. So I've got a couple other things in here that will help with my brown. I have this little tiny shell bead that I am going to try to incorporate into one of my pieces, but it's a brown shell, so we'll get that. And then I think I'm going to put this one in the bracelet. So this is a, I think these are made in the Philippines. They, you know, kind of glue two pieces together and make this double-sided. I just thought these were fun. I bought these at the gem show this year. I have two of them out here, but I really only need one. So that's brown, and it also feeds into our beach design. Okay. Then we also have to use gold, metal, or beads. So I have some gold spacer beads here, and I got out some gold lobster clasps. So we will be working with gold today. I also have some flip-flop links that I may use that are also, these are gold toned, so those all work with my gold, right? Then we have to use sea glass. So I pulled out some fake sea glass here. I have some rounds in these nice blue, watery blue colors, right? So, you know, pretty much anything with that matte finish can sort of be considered faux sea glass, you know, I think. And these are some squares that I may also use, so. Hey Lorraine, thanks for joining us. Just kind of going through my components here. And then our, again, our inspiration is a walk on the beach. Excuse me, I'm still coughing. So, you know, I showed you the shells, I showed you the flip-flops. Yeah, we've been working with flip-flops a lot lately, haven't we? I also have some check glass shell beads. We'll incorporate some of those in, and other things that might be, well, as we lay out our design, we'll see, is I have some starfish. And, you know, these are also shells, but they're hematite, plated hematite, so just a little different shades, okay? So that's all my, my fun stuff for today. So we are going to figure out what we're going to make. So like I said, I'm going to... I wanted to make, I think, an anklet and a bracelet as my matched set today. And they're not going to be identical. We are going to do two different designs, but they will be coordinating designs, okay? And remember, if you make a matched set, you know, all these cards don't have to be in both pieces. It just has to go across the set, right? So that make sure you use all that stuff. So let's, excuse me, goodness. Every time I think I'm shaking this cold, I end up still coughing. So, all right, let's get some beads out, and we're gonna do a little design in here. So, all right, so we've got some pebbles, because, you know, pebbles on the beach are certainly something we would see. So we've got our shells. Can't get my plastic bag open. And then this flower amazonite is perfectly beachy with all the tans and blues. So we're going to do that. I have two different shapes. I'll pull out here. Excuse me. I said we got our sea glass. I don't know if this, I was going to say, I wasn't sure if this was too dark, but I actually think it looks pretty good there. So, also I had some extra crystals laying here just in case I need some filler, you know, to make my other beads go farther. Sent my the end of that plastic flying all over the place, but what it wouldn't be a bead stash challenge if I didn't send beads flying all over my workspace. So, you know, you guys are used to seeing all that. All right. So I thought, let's see, we're gonna start with the anklet, I think. Thought I'd put this flip-flop on the anklet, and then we're going to use the big bead instead on the bracelet. So I am just going to open up this jump ring so I can have my piece out here. Set that one aside. And then I thought I would, so if I need any wire, I did pull out gold wire since we have to use gold today. The challenge is finding the beads. Yeah, I have a, you know, it's fake wood flooring, so eventually I find them, but, you know, it depends on how far under things they go as far as whether my beads get found in anytime soon. So. All right, so let's build around this flip-flop for our anklet. All right. So I also thought I would put this I'm thinking put it in the shell in here if I don't break it or lose it in the meantime. But let me double check that it actually has a hole all the way through, because I guess I hadn't really done that. Every once in a while I get things from people that are sort of, you know, like from their piles, their floor piles, I guess. Let's see. Oh, look, there, it does go through there. So, all right, yay. So maybe we'll make a little attachment to one end of this so that we can hook our lobster clasp to it. So what I want to make is a little maybe wire wrapped loop. What do you think? Be a seashell to go with that, and then we'll string up some other stuff as we go along here. So let's pull this out. I, in case you can't tell, I really had not thought all the way through my project today. I just kind of pulled stuff out that went together. And that's what we're going to do. All right. So I am going to wire wrap this onto the flip-flop. I don't think it really matters which direction this link goes. So we're doing our loop. Any of you all have good beach weather right now? So, you know, to show off your anklets. It's almost always anklet weather here in Arizona. We've our 100 degrees temperatures have finally arrived. It was I think 100 for the first time, only the second time this year. It hit 100 this year, and I don't know, it's here, you know. Our summer heat is here, so it wasn't too bad yesterday. We went out to dinner and stuff. So, all right, so here I want to make the loop for attaching my lobster clasp. So I'm going to make this a little bigger loop than, you know, my standard loop, because I need to, that should do it, huh? Good grief. Using good grief to my 100 degrees, but yeah, you know, it's what we get around here, you know, we get the beautiful winters while you guys are all suffering through the snow. And, you know, so we have to put up with a little heat in the summertime. Right now it's not too bad because the humidity hasn't shown up yet for the monsoons, so you know, they joke about it being dry heat. It is a dry heat right now, but it won't be for long. So. All right, so we've got our loop, and we're gonna tuck that in, and hopefully it's big enough to put that on there. Yay, that works. All right, so now I'm going to use my beading wire to bead up the rest of this. So I'll attach that to the link, and we're gonna put a bunch of beads on there. So, you know, I've always got two choices here, right? I can put all my beads on here and then do the link, which I think I'm going to do, and then we'll then we will connect it to our link there. All right, so I am just gonna, I probably should put my gold beads out here. So I think I'm going to design this so that, you know, that it's my extras that aren't, you know, just beads are off on the one side, so that this will be the center, but also where we hook it. Okay. So let me take that back off. I'm gonna start with a gold bead, and then just maybe randomly put some of these beads on here. It depends on, you know, how often do we need spacers. I think I might save these squares for next to these big beads that I think are going to have to be on my bracelet. Although, you know, they could go on here as well. Why not, right? Just means it has to be a little bigger. Okay. You know what? No, I don't want to put the big. So, you know, it's a choice whether you want to put big beads onto your anklet. I like my anklets a little less chunky than my my bracelets. I'm fine with chunky bracelets, but my hole was a little plugged there. All right, so see what we've got here. Like I said, I'm just sort of adding on. What do you think? Should I include the starfish or not? I'll let you guys vote on that. Yes, starfish, or no. Other. No starfish? Okay. said, I'm trying to be a little random here, but you know, I have a hard time with doing random on purpose. Hopefully that's gonna look good, huh? These check glass shells are fun, but sometimes you have to look at them because they come in with the vertical drilling, but you can also get ones that are drilled back here that then they become sticky outies. And, you know, sticky outies can be fun. You just have to know what you're getting in for, because if your design is for them to be just kind of vertical, you have to watch and make sure you buy the right ones. So remember, our anklets need to be like 7, or you know, a bracelet is typically 7 inches. I'd say 8.5 to 9 inches is normal for an anklet, unless you're making it for a child, because obviously they have smaller ankles than us adults. So I'm loving the colors here. You guys know these are my favorites. Decide if I want to add in this other I might add it in this side just to make it complete. Yeah. All right. What do you guys think? Is that beachy goodness? I think that's beachy goodness. So sometimes I have a hard time finding this faux sea glass. I usually get it. I've gotten it from Kay over at Stars Beads before. I also have found sometimes at the gem shows. There's also a woman who runs T-Beads, Tammy Kerber, runs T-Beads. She's got a Facebook site. She does a lot of beachy stuff because she's from Florida. She often also sells it, so if you're ever looking for it, let me know and I can kind of direct you towards those folks. I've never tried to order directly from the place that at the gem show that sometimes has it. Oh, and I know Phil that does shows, trunk shows at a lot of the places over at, I know he's coming up to the bead place soon, and Kay, he usually visits Kay over at Star Beads in South Carolina sometimes, so he usually has the fake sea glass as well. Now let's see what we're looking at for length here. Now I can always adjust it. So right now I've got 6 inches. Yeah, once I hook this on here. So I may not want to put any more on there, other than I wanted to put this shell on there. Funny Phil. Yeah, Phil is funny. He's always got some really entertaining finds. So what do you guys think here? Should I, I've been wanting to use this shell because I need my brown in there, right? So if I do the shell and I was going to connect it here, or should I also add the hematite? So you can type in yes to add that green bead. And the good thing is I can take stuff off the other end if this is too long. So I'm not worried about that right now because I haven't sealed anything up. I actually kind of like the, I think I kind of like having, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see if I can. Maybe I can hold it up for you. So here, let me just put this on here and then we can look at it. That works too. All right. So what I'm talking about is adding this and then connecting it to here. You like the shell? Okay, we'll do that. All right. Now, even though, you know what, I'm just going to use the crimp bead to make my little gold bead in there. So let's put that on there. Stick it through here. Obviously the wire is not going to go back through my real shell, but it might go back through my, yeah, it should fit there. So I can get a little bit of a tail just to make it more secure, right? So, all right. And tuck that in a little tighter. And then we're doing remember, put it in the divot and squeeze and turn sideways and squeeze. Where did I find these flip-flop links? I will say I got them at Joann's before they went out of business, and I haven't looked. You know, Michael's took over some of their catalog, but I haven't looked to see if they had these there or not. So see if we can get these back. You've yet to master the ravioli. You know, it's really a matter of getting it in the right spot. Because if you get it in the wrong spot, you end up crushing it. All right, so that's what the, really decorative portion of this will look like. Let me, just a little so I make sure I stay on there. All right, let's see how long this thing is now. So right now it's just under 9, but I got to put the clasp on there. But you know what? I'm going to wrap it around my ankle and see whether I need to take things off or not. I do not. Actually, I think it's going to be almost exactly the length I want it to be. So, all right, so to add the lobster clasp on this end, I'm going to leave myself a couple inches. And yes, I am using my favorite turquoise soft flex today, because, you know, what color is better for the beach and all this stuff we're using, right? All right, I think I am pretty sure I can just add this on, but as soon as I gotta double check it because I don't want it to be too small. A little loose is easier to deal with than too small. All right, let me grab that and pull it. My beads aren't as slippery today. These are less slippery beads. All right. So Lorraine, you know, the more you do it, the more I think this comes out to almost the perfect length. All right. So I'm going to scrunch. That's the technical term, by the way. I am going to scrunch everything down. And then I'm going to pull this in. And we're going to do this. So when you're making these raviolis, I will say you want the good quality crimps. I've had the best luck with the soft flex crimps, but I know Beadalon or somebody makes similar ones. And I do think I would practice initially with the copper ones if you are working in copper, or it makes sense with your designs, because I do think they're a little easier, but maybe it's just my imagination. I don't know what others find, but let's trim this again. Be careful not to trim where you don't want to. But all right, so we have our first piece in our match set. We have our anklet, and may have to adjust those bows, but all right, so there's our first piece. Woohoo. Now I thought, like I said, I think, you know, it's reasonable to put this in a bracelet, so I thought I would make that sort of the center of my bracelet. Again, I'm going for about 7 inches. And I do want to include maybe a couple of these pebbles, because, you know, we need shells and pebbles, right? Oh, actually was gonna use some of these, I think. Maybe a couple pieces of larger stuff there. I'm just sort of throwing things out here right now. Get some maybe throw in some more squares here. Maybe some more of these pebbles, because, you know, we need pebbles, right? All right, so don't need much more here. Maybe a couple of these, and we don't have any gold in here, but, you know, it's okay. We'll have the gold crimps and the clasp. So here's my other gold clasp. What do you guys think? Is that a fun one? Let's string it up, see what it looks like. And we may have to adjust things, but now on this one, you know, I was choosing to make my focal centered, you know, on the opposite side from the clasp, as opposed to on the anklet, I made the clasp part of the decentered. So yeah, this one's a little chunkier than our so that's the first half. Yeah. All right, we may have to add a little bit more. We'll see. Yeah, some of these, the holes are a little plugged up. Have to get my bead reamer out. All right, we're gonna see how long this ends up being, so we may have to add a couple of beads because it is chunky. Now my focal is flat, so the chunkiness there doesn't really affect it. Let's see what it how it fits on here. So I've got, you know, a little over an inch, so I do want to add a couple of beads. So maybe we'll add one of these at both ends. So we'll make the first end, and then we'll see if we need to add more. Is actually that is probably the right length, so I end up with an extra bead on one end, but you know what, nobody's going to notice, right? Unless they're trying to really analyze your design. Let's get a couple of crimps out here. I don't think it matters which end I do the loop and which end I do the clasp, so I'm just going to go ahead and, because there's nothing in here that has to go a particular direction. So I haven't tried these beads, but I think they should all have big enough holes. Yeah. All right. So let's get this as flat as we can. And where'd my tool go? So I'm trying to make sure that the wires aren't crossed. Now, you know, when I do the second side, there's really no way to know. So, I mean, it all works out, right? And again, we're just centering it and squeezing, making our ravioli turn sideways. And squeeze. And then, like I said, you're slowly just going to turn and make sure it stays centered. And I think that's the hardest thing, is making sure it stays centered, because if you're off center, it's hard to get it back going without crushing part of it. But it's, you know, it ends up not being a big deal. And if it really turns out horribly, just put a crimp cover over it. There we go. I was gonna say, I thought this was big enough for, and it is, but sometimes it just takes a little extra coaxing to get that second layer of wire in there. And again, you're doing that just in case your crimp breaks, which really does not happen very often. It happens more with the other kind of crimper. You know, if you just crush them, then, you know, you might have over crushed it. But there we go. Now we can look at this up close. I guess I didn't add any extra gold in, except on the ends, but it's all right. All right, so how long? So it's right at 7 inches. I think it's going to be okay, you know. So. All right, so on this end, we are just making a loop with our beautiful turquoise wire. Excuse me. Sorry, I was hearing a strange noise in my house, and I thought my husband's not home, so it was my cat. Sometimes I hear strange noises around here, and it's not my cat, because my cat's laying right next to me. We have our house makes a lot of noise, and I think some of it's because the heat really causes the house to, you know, settle and expand. And all right, so, you know, what I'm doing is I'm trying to not lose my end, and slowly pushing these down with my cats. Cleo is my cat, short for Cleopatra. We only call her Cleopatra when she's at the vet, or when she's, you know, trying to act entitled, you know, because she thinks she's the queen of the house, but she's not. So I've got all this stuff pushed down tight. You don't want, you know, a bunch of extra wires showing. And our vet always jokes with her that, you know, the queen has arrived for her appointment, so. It's kind of funny. All right. Ravioli time. All right. All right, I think we got her on there. Let's see. I said these beads aren't slippery like the ones, like I said, I fight with sometimes, right? All right, so what do we end up with the length on this thing? So it's a little over, it's about 7.5 total, but like I said, with the chunky beads, you need a little help there. Let me, I can't, have a hard time putting bracelets on these days without using my bracelet helper, so I'm going to pull it out, and I usually don't put them on my left wrist, but I want to show you what it looks like. There we go, look at that. I think that's a fun, I've been wanting to use these shells, and it worked out with this design. You're working on a project that's kicking your butt, huh? Okay. I'm sure you'll figure it out, Janelda. But okay, so we got our matched set, and you know, they're not matchy-matchy, but they're coordinating, right? So we've got our bracelet, and we've got our anklet. So these are coordinated to wear together. We've got our gold that we had to use. We've got our brown in our, both our oceany beads as well as the shells. Both have brown in them. Oops, I'm gonna have to fix that. My end is sticking out there. We've got gold on the our spacer beads as well as our clasps, so we used the gold. And we, what would I say? We had to use brown, oh, the sea glass. So we used the faux sea glass, the rounds and the squares. And then we designed it for a walk on the beach. Because we've got shells, we've got little pebbles, and we got flip-flops, right? So, alrighty. So that's our match set for today. That is our week 22 project. And appreciate you guys helping me out with that today. So we'll be back on Sunday for week 23. Goodness, this year just keeps flying along, doesn't it? And we will make, or we will draw cards, and, you know, we'll make something. I can't think of what it is right now, but there was something that I've been wanting to play with, so we may play with those. And like I said, just a reminder, you draw the match set card. It can be any 2 pieces of jewelry, right? So, and quite honestly, if you want to make like a zipper pull and a purse charm, you could do that. I think any, you know, my thought with these cards is you make it work for you. And hopefully you're having fun and you're being pushed a little bit, you know, to try something new. So, all right. So please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, like our posts. Those are all helpful, free ways to support a small business. I will be putting up a post about the sale I'm running. And then, oh, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. All the videos will be on YouTube for the long term, 30 days on Facebook. So if you can't find something, let me know. It's probably over on YouTube. I do label them with the week, and I try to label, you know, at least I'll put in there that we made a bracelet or we made something. So there's some search terms for you guys to make it a little easier to find things. So, anyways, stay tuned. If you haven't already joined our group, please join our Bead Stash Challenge group and play along. It's a great place to see where all our designs are, and you can see all the old stuff in there. I've been bad about updating the photo album, but all the photos are there because I post everything there. There's a couple that may not be because if I pre-schedule the posts, it won't let me include groups. So there we are. So the ones from while I was on vacation may not be in the Bead Stash Challengers group, so I need to move those over. Anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend, and you'll join me on Sunday at noon for week 23 for a surprise project, and we'll be drawing cards to see what we're going to make. Like I said, I know there's something I wanted to play with, and so I may come up with a project for that this weekend, and I can't remember right offhand what it was, but I will figure something out. So, all right, we'll see you all on Sunday. Have a good weekend. Bye.